Hey, so while I am waiting for Walgreens to open, I wanted to make a follow-up to my last video, which will hopefully not be 57 minutes long. But I left something out that I just hadn't thought of. And also, I recorded that video on Wednesday. It's now Saturday. Later in the day after I recorded that video, I went to lunch with my mom and my aunts. And a whole bunch of stuff came up at lunch. They were talking about, like, it was so bizarre, the lunch conversation that was had after making this video. But I wanted to talk about another weird thing that happened, two weird things actually, and I don't know what to make of those yet. But I think I've talked on this channel before about how when there is a situation in my environment where I am ignoring something that I need to get from it, I will have dreams about it. Whether or not I connect it, that's a different story. But what these dreams have in common is that they're dreams that have feelings that stick with me after I wake up. You know, because it's like, you're supposed to be feeling, something about this, you're ignoring it. And so we're going to give you this disturbing, distressing dream that will get you to not leave it alone or whatever. Bring it back up to try to get your attention. And I missed it directly. It wasn't until I was telling Matt about this later that he's like, well, duh, So I missed it, but I find it interesting that, I don't know if it's like, is it really possible for us to remember all of our dreams and to figure out what they all mean? Do they all mean something? I don't know. My guess is yes. Based on everything that's going on here, everything that seems random, that turns out not to have been, if you're able to even, see it, which a lot of the time you can't. Even if you want to, even if you totally believe, it's just, we're so conditioned to think everything is random and to look at things as having no cause, that it's, I don't know. And some things are just so complicated, I'm not sure you could really ever piece it together anyway. But so, just to synopsize the last video, I'll link to that. It's 57 minutes long. I don't know. I'll just try to synopsize it in a nutshell. I created a seemingly random experience for myself a couple weeks ago, 10 days ago. I, on a whim, for reasons that I did not know at the time, decided that I wanted to purchase my stepfather's ex-wife's memoir, which is published. I decided I wanted to buy it and read it. I've known of its existence for quite some time. I know that it is about a period of my life that was very rough for me. I'm not in this book at all, but I experienced everything that is in the book from a child's perspective. And I don't know, there was nothing attractive about it until all of a sudden, seemingly randomly, I just decided, I'm going to get that. I want to read that. Didn't think of it much beyond that. Didn't piece together that it would be a weird part of several intentions that I had to resolve feelings I have about myself and my self-worth regarding my weight, about everything, my weight and my body and everything else, which is, there is no problem there, which is the whole problem, is that I see a problem that isn't there and I'm trying to have it resolve itself. And other intentions like wanting to do something with my life that would require me to not have certain feelings about myself. Certain things that are blocking me from moving forward in other areas of my life. So seemingly randomly, I decide to purchase this memoir, and then a series of events leads me to being in sort of a worn out state of mind, and deciding to read this thing a few days later. Having no idea that, just kind of thinking that this is like watching reality TV. Just like, I'm like, this is going to be mindless, scandalous entertainment or something like that. And unsurprisingly, it dredged up a whole bunch of shit for me from that time. And I just said, why did I do this? This is dumb. I don't want to feel this way. I'm not trying to be upset. I'm not trying to think about the past. I'm not trying to think about people and be mad at them for stuff that they did in ancient history. I'm just going to put this aside and put my focus back on the rest of my life. And then as a result, the next day I got this big cold sore. Didn't put two and two together. I had not gotten from that experience that I had created for myself deliberately without knowing why. I hadn't gotten what I was supposed to get from it. So the emotions that just got set aside came out in the form of this thing, which is now almost healed, but whatever. This huge cold sore. And so it was several days went by. This happened on like a Thursday. This cold sore came out on a Thursday. I read this memoir on a Wednesday. Friday goes by, Saturday goes by. I'm not putting it together. This is the part that I forgot to mention in the last video. Saturday night, I had a dream that when I woke up from it, I felt disgruntled enough that I was kind of in a bad mood. I never wake up in a bad mood. I'm like the ultimate morning person without trying to annoy you. I'm just in a great mood when I wake up almost every day. And so I had this dream. I have a cousin who has the same name as my stepfather's ex-wife. This is so obvious in retrospect. Totally didn't get this at the time. In this dream, which was very simple, I'm in my cousin's garage. We'll just call her Nina. I'm in my cousin Nina's garage. And there is just shit piled everywhere. There's like so much to sift through. Piles and piles, like just boxes and crates and just all kinds of shit that you would find in a garage. And for whatever reason, I had things in this messy garage. There were things in there of mine, and I could kind of see them through the mess. Like there was like, I'd see something, I'd be like peeking through, there'd be like a little, space where you could see to the back of like 3 rows of shit. I'd be like, ooh, that's my thing back there. And so I would like move stuff around and get there, and then I would get to where I thought my thing was, and it wasn't there. This happened like 5 or 6 times that I can recall in the dream. It felt like this dream was like 10 hours long too. And I woke up without having ever found any of my shit in this pile of garbage that was in this garage, or this pile of stuff, just tons of stuff. I mean, okay, if you watched the video, what that dream was telling me was pretty fucking obvious. But since I was just like, I'm gonna have to like get a prescription to like take so I don't get cold sores anymore. I just had kind of like put it aside. I'm like, there's no, it didn't even really occur to me that there could be some big meaning behind any of this. And so I missed it. So the dream is trying to tell me this. The dream's trying to say, hey, like, you were looking around in there for something, and you didn't find it, and you woke up before you found it. So, like, I mean, dude, right? Dude. But I woke up kind of in a crabby mood that day on Sunday morning, the next day, and that was the day I started to question it. A few hours, like, into my day, like around noon or something, when my ex got to work, we were kind of like chatting. That's when I started to figure it out. And that's when I started to figure out, like, this is not just like a virus. This is like from, when this happened right after I read that. And I started to really think about it. I'm like, dude, I was supposed to get something. I was supposed to look at something. That's what I was trying to do for myself. Like, I wasn't just, it's weird. It's like I still have this idea of myself. It's funny. I'm just like, oh, I wanted to just create some drama. So I ordered this book. It's like, whoever's like said negative things about, probably from that time in my life, all the bad things that were said about me, it's like I just default without even realizing or like berating myself. But, I just said, why did I do this? Why did I order this book? Just so that I could get all, dramatic about it? Just so I could get all upset about it? God, why did I do this? I really got to stop doing shit like this. No. So that was the day that I kind of figured out what was coming from it. If you want to know what that is, there's a whole video about it, so I'll link to that. But I've often had this where if I'm missing something, my higher self or I or whatever will try to communicate with me symbolically through these dreams. And Matt, of course, put this together. I was like, I'm like, yeah, it's so weird. We were talking about this on Sunday when I was trying to figure it out. I was talking through everything with Matt, trying to figure out what exactly I was meant to figure out from this experience with reading the memoir. And I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I had this dream last night that I was in Nina's garage, looking through blah, 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 blah. And then like 30 seconds later, I'm like, yeah, so, you know, Nina's memoir, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, that's why you had the dream. It's the same name. It's the same, you know, you just put it, you know, you're sifting through somebody's garage who you know and love and loves you, rather than, you know, the actual person that wrote the memoir that has the same name. I don't know if I left that out just now. I thought that was pretty crazy. But the thing, so the really kind of weird other thing, when I saw my mom later that day, on Wednesday for lunch, she showed up. She does not have the lip herpes. She has avoided contracting the lip herpes somehow all the way to 77. I guess she just didn't get around too much. Not that I did. I got the lip herpes from my ex, who I was in a long-term relationship with. Thank you very much. But she showed up, and she, right in the same spot as I have, she had like a bleeding sore on her lip that was like clearly not a cold sore. It was just like she burned her something. She had some sort of thing, and they said something about it. They were asking her about it, and oh, I don't know. You know, she showed up with a thing on her lip right in the same place. And Wednesday night, when I was reading that memoir, and I was having some serious moments of like, this is the word I would use. I was feeling murderous towards them, thinking about the stuff that they did back then, the choices that they made, the things that they said to me. I didn't even look at this thing as like a super intense experience. It was just like moments here and there, but I've gotten so good at not thinking about that whole time of my life that it was just really easy to just say, oh, okay, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing this right now, you know? I had like moments in reading this where I was just like, God, they suck. And the feeling was like, I'd like to strangle them. I think I said in the last video, when I think about them and sort of the injustice, I want to exact revenge. It's just a feeling. I don't actually want that, obviously. But it's just a feeling. At seriously the exact moment that I was reading this memoir and having these feelings, my mom and my stepfather were in another state. They were going to somebody's funeral or something, driving to somebody's funeral, several states away. So they were probably like 500 miles away, and they were in a hotel, and my stepfather suddenly started to feel like he was having a heart attack, which he's had 2 heart attacks, so he knows what that feels like. So, you know, he started having severe pain in his chest, and then it just passed. My mom was telling us this at lunch, that, you know, it was very scary. She was thinking, what am I going to do if he dies right now? I would call Maggie. That's what she said. She would call me, apparently. I'm sorry, like, that's so fucked up. But so he was basically like about to have a heart attack while this was happening. And I was feeling murderous. And then I set it aside. I stopped feeling that way. Like, it was really abrupt. I was just like, enough of this. And I set it aside, and I started legitimately just like put my attention on something else. I didn't even think about it again until Sunday. That's how off the table it just went out of my mind. And he said it just passed, or she said it just passed suddenly, and he was like, I bet I just threw a clot or something. So I told Matt that, and he thinks it's a total coincidence. I don't know. I don't see how it could be, but I'm not sure what to take from that exactly, other than that, you know, I don't think it would have been good for me to not have experienced that. However, if I in any way am influencing anything energetically or physically to that degree, it makes me not want to be in that state at all, like almost ever. I was talking to my ex about this, you know, he's really into all of this, and really into, I should say, he's just, you know, he's moved into this understanding. And I was saying, you know, I think I think like the more you clear your signal, which is what I'm trying to do essentially with everything that I've talked about on this channel, all this like uprooting and tossing of the static that's in the frequency, that's in the signal, that's in the creative whatever, you know, that is creating my life on autopilot, that is part of the reflection. You know, as I'm trying to clear that out, like at the absolute root bottom causal area, I think there's a responsibility. I think a responsibility starts to be there to be really careful about what you're thinking. Because to be honest with you, I don't think people that are wildly mixed up and don't really know, you know, I do think it's a lot more easy to be a direct creator of things that happen really quickly when you don't have a lot of static there. When you do have a lot of static, you're still creating everything. I mean, that static state where everything is all a jumbled mess, that is creating the jumbled mess of confusion that you're experiencing on a day-to-day basis, and all the things that are not the way you would want them to be. But I don't think you have quite as direct, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure I can really flesh that out anymore. I just think that the clearer it gets, the more rapidly you see a direct result of what you're thinking right there. And that's just, I don't know, that freaked me out a little bit, because I was feeling murderous. I really was. I was just, you know, and to be honest with you, I think if my stepfather died, my mom wouldn't be here much longer after that. So I was just thinking about how, you know, I don't know. I thought I would put that out there. I've been deleting everything from Reddit recently. I've been going through and just kind of like weeding out everything. I have a subreddit, Neville Goddess, on Reddit, reddit.com/r/Neville Goddess. And I've been going through that and just, you know, I've come across some stuff that I've written in the past, and I don't know, it's good to get this stuff down, because I really, I've forgotten so many of the things that I experienced in 2020 when I was starting this channel. I just wanted to get this as a part of that experience. And I'm sure something here will benefit somebody, especially the, you know, I think your dreams are trying to talk to you, and it's just a matter of how receptive you are, or, you know, if you can make yourself really believe that. And it can be really difficult, because honestly, I don't think I ever would have even remembered. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even like give it a moment of what did this mean. I was just like, man, what an annoying dream. And I woke up, you know, I'm like, God, what? This is a ripoff. Like, I just got ripped off out of A Good Morning, because I had this dream, and it's got this leftover residual. Anytime that happens to me, where I wake up and I'm still feeling the feeling in the dream, that was the fucking purpose. It was to get me to feel that way. This is one time, I think, in recent history that I haven't connected this. I've had, you know, dreams about like Matt, where, just, yeah, this is a total overshare, but Matt and I got in a fight. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Matt, if you ever watch this. Matt and I got in a fight, like a big fight one time. And we both dreamed that we were shitting our pants that night. And the next day we were like making up or talking or something. And I was like, yeah, I had this crazy dream last night that I was just like walking around shitting myself. And he was like, oh my God, so did I. And then he was like, thank God, hey, at least we both know we care. Like, at least we were both shitting ourselves over the fight we had. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Have a good day.